So who are we? We're the Device Identity Forum, and we have a URL and a page that links to our meetings and things like this. What's going on here? So the IT Security Foundation is a global nonprofit membership association. There's a plenary meeting usually in October, although I think there's other plans this year, and quite a number of different working groups and a bunch of things around IoT security, including um, um, self-evaluations and some other kinds of security labeling. But a lot of this has to do with identity, and you can't do a whole bunch of things if you don't know what kind of devices you have. And so this is where a lot of it starts from. So why are we here? So a lot of us have this lived experience where it's quite difficult to explain to people what's going on and why. And I think some of this we've come to conclude is about just communication and icons at that level. So we're trying to fix that, and that's actually what today's agenda is about. Mostly establishing norms. So one of the things that I've observed over about 10 years is that there's a lot of device identities going on, a lot of things happening. Unfortunately, when you ask questions of what's going on and how is the technology being used, then you run up against NDAs and things like this. And so then it becomes a question of what is everyone else doing? What is the industry norm if no one will talk about it? And so that actually becomes a real problem. And I've experienced a fair bit of, I'm going to call it fear, uncertainty of doubt, where people say, oh, well, the manufacturers couldn't possibly keep their keys private. And then they point to some well-known, failures. But that doesn't tell you what the people who are doing a good job, how they're doing. And that's what this is about. So also about network effects. If we can talk about it publicly and we can talk about what's going on, then maybe we can establish better norms. So what are we going to do? We're producing a bunch of white papers about different kinds of things. They are intended to be very much NDA free. And the idea is that we might cover some 90% majority in our documents as to what is being done. And so then you don't have to specify everything between you and, say, your manufacturer that puts your identities in as to what you're doing. You just have to say, I like one of these that looks a bit like this, but I want mine without onions, or whatever the variation is. And that without onions may be enough that you can say that without an NDA. You can say, well, it looks exactly like this, and your customers and your customers' customers, you can say this is how it works going on. Some people have said, well, what, I buy the part, why don't I have the NDA? And the answer is, well, yeah, you have the NDA with the elevator. You're the building owner. Let's say you have the NDA with the elevator company, but you don't have an NDA with the guy who make the chip. And so you have no idea what they do down the stack. And so this is why we're having people present success stories. We've had a bunch of them in the past. I think that many of them are posted on YouTube at this point, and I think maybe we should probably make a playlist of them, maybe. So these are the 6 documents that we're proposing, and they are all available, and we're looking at collaborative editing. We had a couple of leads for some of these things, and there's some people that did not make it, obviously, today, who are leads in some of these other ones. And who should you come here? Well, many of you are engineers and are involved with this, and chip vendors, and I know a couple of you are probably Verilog cowboys and things like this. So that's great, wonderful, good. I'm so glad you're here. But think about inviting your marketing staff, because this is at the level of could be at the level of marketing, technical marketing, and we want to get it right, and we want to make sure that this is collateral that you can use as well. And part of the goal here is to have a common set of communications. So anyone needs to explain things. So maybe you won't get your CTO here, or maybe you will. I don't know. And that's it. So we started in 2025. Launched at Cyber UK in 2025, and we're hoping to get the first things out this year.